Man, just look at these views. Aren't I lucky to be here? This is the Peak District, just outside of Macclesfield. Look at the lovely rolling fields. And look at the lambs there, all the sheep. What fantastic views. Back road dropping down into Macclesfield. Main Cat and Fiddle Road, you can see just ahead of me here. I'll be dropping down onto that in a moment. Any traffic? No, any traffic? No. And this is one of the roads that have been regulated. It's now 50 miles per hour average speed. You can see the sign there, 50 miles per hour. Camera should be somewhere lurking. Cat and Fiddle is this Cat and Fiddle Pass. It is on my doorstep, so hence the reason why I'm often on it, riding my bike and shooting some footage. But it's also nice just to go off the beaten track and do the little roads, the back roads. I don't know if they put average speed cameras along these sections. They probably have. Unfortunately, that's the state of the UK at the moment with over-regulation. You know, they've over-regulated the country so much that, you know, people aren't really finding much enjoyment. I know I've got a mate that's now switched from riding motorbikes all the time to going out on his push bike. He's got a mountain bike that he's often using. So like this fella there. In certain areas, I'm sure these cyclists can probably break the speed limit. You know, it's ridiculous. You've got areas like Wales where they had a 20 mile per hour speed limits. I believe those have now been revoked and put back to more sensible speed limits. But generally, I tend not to ride in Wales because of that over-regulation, where every road is has got average speed cameras. It's just it's not pleasant because you're constantly looking down at your dashboard instead of watching out for dangers on the road. That's what I find. You know, if there weren't, you know, speed cameras, yes, I understand that we'd get some speedsters, but it would allow you to be more aware of what's happening. It's much like the area here next to Macclesfield. The next town along is Poynton, and they've got a particular roundabout in the middle of their small village, where there's no markings on the road, so people don't know who's got right of way. Is it the motorists that have right of way, or is it the pedestrians, is it the cyclists? And because of that, believe it or not, people generally tend to drive a lot slower in those areas because they're so much more aware of what's happening around them, instead of looking at the road signage, looking at the lines on the road, you know, looking out for average speed cameras, looking out for stoplight cameras, traffic light cameras. Really good system. But yeah, some parts of the UK are just miserable, you know, with all their cameras. Here we go, dropping down into Mac, hitting the residential areas now, the 30 mile per hour zone. Yeah, it's a lovely little town, this Macclesfield. I've only been living here in Macclesfield since 2016, and it's a far cry from where I've lived before. I've lived in some, yeah, I'll just say in some areas of note, yeah, dodgy areas, quite rough areas. So I have lived in places like St Helens. I did a short stint in Skelmersdale as well. I've also lived in Slough down south, so yeah, it's probably some of the roughest areas in the UK. I've just mentioned there, some of them, not the roughest. There are others that are worse. Anyway, but by comparison, yeah, Macclesfield is a lovely little town. I enjoy this town. And once a month, I think it's the last Sunday of every month, they put on a market. They call it the treacle market. I'm not too sure about what the treacle, or where that's derived from, but I know in the old days that Macclesfield was renowned. It was famous for the silk trade. So that's why the local football team, that's soccer for any Americans watching this, they are called the Silk Men, and it's all to do with the silk trade that used to happen here in the town. You know, we're talking, you know, centuries ago. Right, so this is all just residential built-up areas. They're probably quite boring for you to watch, so I will switch off now. But yeah, thanks for joining me today, and I'll catch you again very soon. Take care, look after yourselves. Cheers.